What is up, plant people? Hey, today is, to the 10th? 10th, yes, Tuesday, November 10th, 2020, just after election week. So it's been quite the week and weekend. I did not have an episode scheduled for today, but I'm going to throw a bonus one at you because I started a new podcast. So there is this project called NaPodPoMo, so National Podcast Post Month. It's kind of like NaNoWriMo and some of these other do a thing every day in November events. So I wanted to take part in this, and essentially podcasters just post an episode every day of different lengths, of different materials for the month of November. Well, I didn't think that felt or fit very well with Planthropology in this project. So I started a new podcast called the Plant Prof. And the whole point is that I kind of just talk through answers to questions that y'all have given me. I throw random plant facts out. I really just rant about whatever comes to my little brain at the time of recording. And so for the month of November, I'm posting an episode every single day. And they're all less than 10 minutes long. They're super short and bite-sized and just about whatever I happen to think is interesting that day. Going forward after November, I think it's going to be a weekly companion to this show. So if there is a specific thing that a guest brought up or that we discussed that we didn't get time to go more into detail about, I will talk about it the next week or maybe the same week. It'll probably come out Wednesday, so the day after Planthropology, and maybe just talk about some specifics. Again, I'll answer questions. I will just muse about whatever is on my mind, talk about garden tips and all of those things. So it's laid back. It's funny. I'm pretty much doing zero editing on that show. So whatever comes out of my mouth is what ends up on the podcast episode. So go check out The Plant Prof anywhere you can find podcasts. I'll link it on a couple of different places in the show notes. Maybe just put in the Linktree. But I think it's going to be fun. Even going forward, they'll all be short episodes, 10 to 15 minutes max. So anyway, thanks for your support. It's a great way to kick off year 2. I hope you are caught up on Planthropology, but if you want to hear just me, talk about more plant stuff and go into a little bit more detail about things that I think are interesting, please check out The Plant Prof, and I would appreciate it. Your support is awesome, and enjoy the first couple of episodes of The Plant Prof here in this bonus episode, and then you can go check out everything that has come since then. Y'all are the best. I hope you enjoy. Hello, friends. Today's November 2nd, and it's the second day of NaPodPoMo and the second episode of the Plant Prof podcast. I'm Vikram Baliga, your host, and let's talk about plant stuff. So, as you may have seen and heard on the social media places and on episode 1, go listen to episode 1. They're short. It's like 4 minutes long. Come on. What are you doing? You've got time. Come on. Go listen to it. Go. Okay, welcome back. So we're going to talk about random plant stuff every day, whatever plant facts I can think of. I like to pick things that have, subsequently blown people's minds when I tell them about it. And we'll go with that. I'll answer some questions. We'll do some fun stuff. It's going to be crazy and, whatever. Laid back, I don't know. There's words. And again, I'm not going to edit these at all. So whatever you get out of my mouth parts and my brain jelly is really what ends up in your ear holes. Oh my God, what am I doing? That's a lot of words that I did not need to say to you. Okay, so we're going to talk about berries. What is a berry? I can tell you what a berry's not. It is not a strawberry, a blackberry, or a raspberry, which are what we think of when we think of a berry mix. And if you ever get a berry smoothie, they've got strawberries and blackberries and raspberries in them. They're not berries. I'm sorry. They're not. They're various different things. Honestly, a strawberry is not even really a fruit exactly. We'll talk about that later. So the definition of a berry is a fruit with 3 distinct fleshy layers. Do you like the word fleshy layers? I do. The exocarp, which is the outer skin, the mesocarp, which is the fleshy middle part that you chomp with your teeth bones, and then the endocarp, which has the seeds in the middle. So think about a grape. A grape's a great example. The outside is the skin, the fleshy middle part that we eat and squeeze into wine is the mesocarp, and the jelly-like insides, the gelatinous goopiness that hold the seeds is the middle. So also think of a tomato. A tomato is a berry. Strawberry's not a berry, but a tomato is a berry. Think about when you cut a tomato in half. It's got the skin on the outside. It has sort of the firmer flesh that's the mesocarp. And then there's goopiness inside where the seeds are that sometimes you'll clean out if you don't want your salsa too runny. And sometimes you leave in if you're into that sort of thing. So there are a lot of things that are actually berries that you don't think are berries. So how about a banana? A banana is a berry. Now, you don't think of a banana as really having seeds, but they do. And the wild type bananas actually have large seeds and very little flesh. So a banana is a berry. Has a leathery exocarp. It has a soft, chewy, chompity mesocarp, and then a sort of goopier endocarp that, when a banana first starts to turn into the disgusting puddly mess on your counter, the mesocarp and the endocarp get even softer and grosser. So another definition of a berry, or another prerequisite that something has to meet before it can be considered a berry, is that it comes from a flower with a single ovary. Now, flowers may have multiple ovaries. They may be arranged on a stem in a particular way where multiple ovaries fuse together. Looking at you, blackberries. Each little capsule on a blackberry is actually a drupe, which is like a peach. It's in the same classification as peach, which is why blackberries have some crunchiness to them. You eat each of those individual cells, and there's a seed in each one. They fuse together along a central stem, and you get what we know of as a blackberry or a raspberry. But a true berry comes from a single ovary, and the seeds have to be distributed throughout the endocarp and throughout the structure of the fruit. So there's a couple of variations to this. I mentioned that bananas are a berry. Tomatoes are a berry. What else? We've got peppers, all of your peppers, from bell peppers to serrano peppers and habaneros and jalapenos and everything in between. Those are all berries. Eggplant, or the fruit from an eggplant. What do we call that? So the plant itself is an eggplant, but we tend to call the fruit eggplants as well. Like, I'm going to go get an eggplant, and you don't get the whole plant. You just get the fruit. So egg fruit, we have a researcher here that at Texas Tech that works on eggplants, and he tends to call them egg fruits. But I don't like that. I don't. So is it kind of like a Frankenstein and Frankenstein's monster thing? So, where Frankenstein is the doctor or the plant, and Frankenstein's monster is the fruit of his labor. So we're going to call them eggplants and eggplants monsters. We good with that? Anyway, those are berries too. There's some other kinds. An orange is a type of berry called a Hesperidium with 3 fleshy layers. They have 2 or more seeds in the capsules, in the little segments. They have a thick, leathery rind. You know what else is a berry? A pumpkin is a berry. It's called a peepo, or a peppo. It's a peepo. I've heard people say it both ways, but technically it is called a peepo. Although I've heard people say peepow and peppo and papa. No, that last one's not true. Peepos. So anything in that gourd family. So cucumbers, watermelons are peepos. Well, actually, I don't know about that one. I may be wrong about that one. But a watermelon's definitely a berry. I just don't know if it's technically considered a peepo. So someone out there fact check me on that and let me know. But yeah, lots of weird things are berries, and lots of things that we call berries are not. Of the things that you would typically find in a berry smoothie, the only thing that's actually a berry is a blueberry. So thanks for hanging in there, blueberries, and being cool and, living up to your name. Yeah, that's all. Berries. That's all I got. go eat a pepper. Your stuffed bell pepper is a fruit dessert, so congratulations. Anyway, see you tomorrow. Hey, it's Vikram, and this is the Plant Prof podcast with crazy plant facts and whatever else my brain comes up with. Today is day 3 of Nano Podmo. No. It is not nano. It is Napod Pomo. I will get this right before the end of the month. Anyway, podcast today. I'm talking plants. So I just poured myself a cup of coffee, and it is awful. It's awful, y'all. And I don't want to call anyone out, but I'm just going to say this coffee is not the best part of waking up. Normally, I drink some great locally roasted coffee from either my friends at Tierras Planas or at Bold Grounds Coffee Company. But I'm at work, and I didn't have any of that with me. My supply here at work ran out. And so we had a can of red-colored, poor quality in every office coffee. So I went ahead and made that. And I mean, at some point it's about the drug, right? There's caffeine in it and it's warm. And so it's doing the job, but it is not good. It is not the best part of waking up. So speaking of coffee, let's talk about pumpkins. So I mentioned yesterday that pumpkins are berries, and do with that information what you will. But it is pumpkin spice latte season. Pumpkin spice latte by the famous coffee roaster Starbucks. And when they introduced the pumpkin spice latte in 2003, pumpkin spice was off to the races. Everyone wanted pumpkin spice and everything. Pumpkin spice donuts, pumpkin spice eggnog, pumpkin spice fried eggs, pumpkin spice pizza, sausage. I don't know. Desserts, mostly desserts. I hope that mostly we're sticking to putting pumpkin spice in things that are sweet. So for the longest time, there was no actual pumpkin in a pumpkin spice latte from Coffee Bucks. And it was just pumpkin pie spice, which does not have pumpkin in it. It's like cinnamon, ginger, nutmeg, clove, and a couple other things. But in 2015, people were like, no, we need pumpkin in our pumpkin latte. And so Starbucks said, yeah, fine, okay. And so they put pumpkin puree in the syrup that goes into a pumpkin spice latte. But it turns out that's a little bit of a misnomer, because botanically and scientifically, a pumpkin's just a squash. Just a squash, y'all. And so just any old gourd that happens to be orange and round and is good for carving faces, for the carving of faces. Anyway, so the pumpkin puree that they actually put in the syrup that goes in a pumpkin spice latte is very heavily just generic squash goop. There is some pumpkin in it. There is just so little pumpkin in it that it absolutely does not change anything. It's really just to appease the naysayers that said, no, if this is a pumpkin spice latte, I need pumpkin in it. So here are the ingredients to a pumpkin spice latte, and I'm looking at the coffee dollars, the sun dollars. So Starbucks, I'm going to call it. I've said Starbucks a bunch of times, so we're just going to go with Starbucks. So here's the ingredients: milk, pumpkin spice sauce, That is super appetizing, right? So that contains sugar, condensed skim milk, pumpkin puree, quote unquote. Contains 2 or less of fruit and vegetable juice for color. That phrase doesn't make any sense. Contains 2 or less of fruit and vegetable juice for color. Natural flavors, annatto, I don't know what that is. Salt, potassium sorbate. That's what's in the pumpkin spice sauce. Brewed espresso, whipped cream, vanilla syrup, pumpkin spice topping. So it has things in it, and there is some pumpkin in it. But I just wanted to make the point, if you were curious, that there is actual fruit, because a pumpkin is a berry and a berry is a fruit. There is fruit in your sugary pumpkin spice latte. So by the way, a 16 ounce, which I guess is a grande, just in case I haven't ruined your day enough, has 380 calories, 52 grams of total carbohydrates, 50 grams of sugar, but it does have 14 grams of protein, which this says that 14 grams of protein is 28% of your daily requirement of protein. I beg to differ, but anyway. So yeah, 380 calories in a grande and 50 grams of sugar. So if you want your expensive fruit smoothie to be full of sugar, go get a pumpkin spice latte and have a wonderful fall. By the way, it's November, so Merry Christmas. Well, hi there. It's Vikram Baliga, and you're here with me for the Plant Prof. This is episode 5-ish. Yeah, it's got to be 5 because it's Napod Pomo and it's the 5th. So that means this must be the 5th episode. By the way, I am not going to do this daily forever. I'm just not. I can't. My brain just won't happen. Will not happen. So it'll go daily through the end of the month, and this will probably be going forward a weekly companion to my bi-weekly fortnightly podcast, Planthropology, which you should be listening to with your ear holes. Oh, by the way, today is Planthropology's first birthday. It's the first anniversary of me jumping into the podcast world. So go follow Planthropology in the places. I've got a cool new logo from my friend Beth, who is just fabulous. Her handle on Twitter and all over the internet is Franz with benefits. Franz with benefits. And I can't get over that. I love it so much. Anyway, go follow Planthropology. Go give it a listen. I would very much appreciate it. So, yeah, day 5 of Napod Pomo, which has been a lot of fun so far. I'm hoping I make it all the way through the 30 days. We shall see what happens. We'll see what happens. So we're talking about coffee. This is the first time of probably many times that we talk about coffee on this show. I love coffee. If you have known me for any period of time, either in person or virtually, you have probably started to pick up how much I love coffee. I like lots of different kinds of coffee. I like lots of different brew methods. However, this coffee I picked up this morning, I wanted a bagel. I actually wanted a Nova Lox sandwich, open-faced sandwich, whatever. So I stopped at this bagel establishment named after a famous relativistic particle physicist from the, I don't want to say his name, named Albert. His name was Albert. And his brother, I guess. This place is named after Albert and his brother. So I stopped and picked up the bagel. The bagel was great. The lox was fantastic. I enjoyed it. This coffee is not good. I'm sorry. It is just not good. I was in a hurry. Normally, I try to make my own at home, or I'll make some here at work. I have a few bags of really wonderful coffee from my friends over at Bold Grounds Coffee Company here in Lubbock, America. Everything's locally roasted, home roasted. It's so good. So good. But I didn't have time this morning. I woke up late. Actually, I didn't wake up late. I woke up on time and then even got dressed and laid in bed to check something on my phone or whatevs, and woke up 10 minutes later. And you ever get nap fog? Nap fog, like when you nap for too long or you don't get a good nap. I got nap fog at 7:40 a.m., and that was just not fair. So my whole day's been kind of on tilt. So I needed coffee. Picked up this whatever roast. I can't even, caribou coffee. I'm looking at the sleeve right now. And I've drank about a third of this because at some point it's about the drug instead of the flavor, but gosh, this is just not good. So I wanted to talk a little bit about coffee, and there's way more to cover than we can cover in one 10-minute or less episode. So we'll start here. It'll go somewhere, and one of these days you'll get a pretty good picture of how coffee works. So coffee grows on a tree. These trees do best in mountainous, somewhat cloudy, humid, and somewhat cooler environs. Now, you may say, no, but they grow coffee in places like Ethiopia and South America, and that is very true. All those places do grow coffee, but it's grown up in the mountains, and typically they tend to have cool nights, not terribly hot days, lots of fog and mist, and these trees are not very big, and they do quite well. So coffee, as we know it, is the seed of the fruit of the Coffea arabica tree. And it grows in these little cherries, and they look like cherries. They have a pit like a cherry. They turn red like a cherry. I've never tasted one, but I've heard they're sour, but not bad. So the seed part, the pit, is separated out from the rest of the coffee cherry. It is dried, bagged, and then sent to roasters all over the world. So the coffee is roasted through a variety of methods that give you different flavor tones and caffeine contents. By the way, the darkest coffee is not necessarily the most caffeinated coffee. Sometimes your light to medium roasts actually have more caffeine. Blonde roasts, from what I understand, actually have a lot of caffeine in them. But anyway, so the delicious, don't punch your friends bean water that we like to drink every morning actually comes from a cherry. And it's produced all over the world, but, primarily some of the better coffees tend to come out of South America and Africa. Even though they do grow some pretty good coffee in the Pacific Northwest of the U.S., it comes from all over the place. So, y'all don't drink bad coffee. I mean, again, if you need the caffeine jolt, that's fine, I guess, but life is too short to drink bad coffee. So, I'd like to hear about your favorite coffee. What do you like to drink? My favorite brew method is the French press. Some people don't like the muddy mess that a French press can make. I'm a big fan. I like it. I like the thick coffee. I like a little bit of grit to it. I like the flavor tones you get out of a French press, although a Chemex is very good as well. So we'll, in the future, talk about all these brew methods in a little more detail. But for now, I would like to hear from you. So I have an email address. It is theplantprofpod@gmail.com. I would like to hear your comments. Also through Anchor, you can record a voice memo with your thoughts about coffee. I'm probably not going to make a dedicated social media for this. I do too much social media. So you can either catch up with me on Twitter or Instagram on my personal pages, which is at Vic Bradley, at Vic, V-I-K, Bradley. Or you can find me on my main podcast accounts, which are Planthropology, pretty much anywhere you look. And connect with me. Tell me your favorite kind of coffee. I want to hear some feedback from you. I'd be happy to feature your voice or your thoughts about caffeinated bean water on the show. Anyway, that's all for today. We'll talk about something else tomorrow. Okay, bye.